what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more.
What is going on? How we doing? Bringing it back with the Wednesday night. How about that? But it is good to be back, man. It's been over a week. I've been fired up with this for this stream. We got a lot to talk about, as well as some fun games to play, some brackets to fill out, if you will, right? Gotta get in the March Madness spirit. But before we get into all that, how are y'all doing? Y'all know the drill. If you're in here, feel free to say hello in chat. Looks like we got Caden and Jack in here already. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Caden, how you doing? Appreciate all the hard work you did to make this stream happen. This is going to be a fun one. I think this is one of the more underrated streams that we did last off season. And I'm excited to bring this one back, right? Selection Sunday was just a few days ago. We've got the big tournament coming up. I mean, I think even like the first 4 games are going on right now. Everyone's filling out their brackets. This is just classic off-season content right here. Just talking ball, filling out some fun NFL-themed March Madness brackets. And for those of you that might not be familiar from what I did last year, we'll get into that soon enough, but it's more or less what it sounds like. I'm not necessarily like filling out like my playoff bracket for next year or anything like that. It's definitely a lot more like chill and fun, if that makes sense. But I really enjoyed doing this last year, so I'm glad to be bringing this one back. But as I alluded to earlier, we've got a lot of news to hit. There has been a lot of stuff that has happened since I last went live last week, Monday. I mean, that was literally just day 1 of legal tampering. And as we all learned, you know, stuff that happens in that time period is not necessarily official. And stuff that happens maybe one day can be taken back the next, if you know what I'm saying. I know that technically wasn't like a signing. That was more of a trade. But still, just like a very nice reminder. Maybe not nice for like the Raiders or Ravens necessarily, but it is a reminder that sometimes stuff isn't official until it's official, and things can happen. So a lot has happened between those two teams in particular. I mean, I think about like the way I was talking about the Ravens just this last week. Oh, I'm going to fall for it again. I'm a little less high on them now based off of recent developments, but I like the little cartwheel emoji right there. Jack, I got to ask you, we're a week and a half now into the real thick of the offseason. How are you feeling about your Hawks? I know there's just been, you know, some moves made. You saw some guys leave on last week, Monday. And I think you and I even talked on Instagram a little bit about a move that I really like Seattle making in the backfield. But how are you feeling about Seattle now that we've sort of had some time to pass, letting some stuff marinate a little bit? I will say, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. In my Dynasty League, I may or may not have swung a trade for a guy that Seattle just picked up. You know, I wanted to get my hands on him, Emmanuel Wilson. I'm very high on that signing. And I know you like posted it on your story, so I have to imagine you're probably feeling good about it too. But I'm curious, Jack, how are you feeling about Seattle right now? Hi, what's up? The yo and the hi. That's awesome. Being realistic, the team is probably going 17-0. Yeah, that's probably a good, healthy way to look at things, right? I get it. That division's gonna be tough though, man. I mean, man, like there's still a long ways to go this offseason, but look, I love Seattle, but I think it's tough to pick them to win the division right now. But you know, of course, me of all people is probably gonna be saying that, right? But they've got a chance with that defense. Darnold's good, JSN is good. The blocking has improved a lot. Like, they've got a chance for sure, even with all the guys that they've lost. But we're just going to go ahead and get started. We won't beat around the bush much longer. 9 points. Wait, is that actually true? 9 points away from being 17-0 last year? There's no way, right? Hold on. Now you're like actually making me look this up. I mean, I know they had a good record. Were all their losses that close? Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. That'll be the first thing we talk about. How about that? Because I've got a lot of stuff to say. And unsurprisingly, I feel a little bit better about it now. I've already convinced myself. Where's Seattle real quick? I'm just looking this up just out of curiosity. I know I've got my ad blocker on. I love you guys, but I'm not turning it off. Also, there's an ad anyways. There's no way, right? 4-point loss. Okay, so there's 4 plus 3. That puts us at 7. Plus 2, that puts us at 9. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, you're right. All right. How have I never seen that stat reported before or anything? I guess all their losses were close. 9 points away from 17-0. You're totally right, dude. They should have won this game. You know what I'm saying? They should have beat that 49ers team. They really outplayed them in that one. They easily could have won this game. And they easily could. I mean, they had a chance to win at the end. They were kicking for the lead and the win, That's crazy. All right, let's do it. Hey, if you're asking for it, right, I'm not gonna run from it. We might have to pull it up because it happened a while ago at this point. But this is probably this and the Max Crosby stuff is probably the biggest news that's happened since we last went live. And I got to admit, I was actually kind of wrong about whether or not this would happen. But here you have it, arguably the best quarterback on the open market, finding his new team after being released by the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is a Minnesota Viking. For those of you that follow me on TikTok, shout out to it, by the way. Don't be afraid to go give that a follow. I'm posting on there a little bit now too. But I got to say, man, I think all things considered, this has got to be best case scenario for the Minnesota Vikings, right? I mean, like I said on TikTok, this is essentially a get out of jail free card for how badly the Vikings bungled their quarterback situation last year, right? I mean, look at this. With the offset language in the contract, Kyler's getting his bag from the Cardinals anyways. This is a 1-year vet minimum deal for Kyler Murray. And regardless of how good of a player you actually think he is or where he comes in on your quarterback rankings, even if you're low on him and have him as QB 20, right? Let's just put it this way. The Vikings re-signed their long snapper, Andrew DePaula, this offseason. And they also signed Kyler Murray. Guess what player is going to be paid more by the Vikings this season? Guess which player is going to count against the Vikings cap more? We literally got him for cheaper than our long snapper. I'm sorry. I know the purple is already running through my blood again, and I actually have life in my eyes when I'm talking about the Vikings again. Please tell me how this isn't the best bargain in the entire NFL to get a true, maybe not franchise quarterback, but a talented starting quarterback for $1.5 million. It's 1 year. There's absolutely nothing to lose here. And it's not a competition, right? I'm sorry. He's better than J.J. McCarthy. He's going to get the job. It's fair to maybe be concerned about his fit in the scheme. And I think that is definitely the big elephant in the room. That is something I kind of talked about throughout this whole process. And that's fair to be concerned about. Totally. KOC can be as stubborn as a mule when it comes to this kind of stuff. The cope that I'm kind of taking right now, the optimism that I kind of have right now is there is a precedent for a marriage like this working before, where you've got maybe a more shotgun, college-y style of quarterback playing in a Shanahan-McVay type of offense. RG3's rookie season with Washington, right? Kyle Shanahan was the OC. Mike Shanahan was the head coach. You had McVay and LaFleur on the coaching staff, all that stuff, right? And RG3 was not your typical Shanahan-style quarterback. And yet, they made it work. They found a nice compromise. You saw a lot of pistol formation. So, the quarterback still got the illusion of being in the shotgun formation. They didn't have to be directly under center. Easier to read things out pre-snap if you're further back, right? But you also had that running back still directly behind the quarterback. So you still get that illusion of, we're under center. You still get all those zone run looks and then play action looks off of it that the offensive coordinator wants to do. We saw them do that a lot in Arizona, especially when Drew Petzing came in. Petzing and Kyler honestly worked fairly well together, even though Petzing was a Stefanski guy, right? You wouldn't necessarily think that would be a good mix, but they kind of made it work, And I just have to imagine there's no way that we would do this if we didn't know that coming in, right? The offense better be good. That's what I'll say. There's no excuse now. The offense better be good, man. If we're really like that, the offense better be good. I'm not going to go out here and predict us to win the Super Bowl or even win the division necessarily, but I'm significantly more excited to watch the Vikings now than I was even 2 weeks ago. And I think at the very least he could be average and on a really cheap contract, and that was kind of the vision with McCarthy in the first place. I think Kyler can at least for sure do that, if not maybe provide a ceiling for a little bit more. I like it. I'm all on board. I'm all on board. Jack likes the move. The problem is the Vikings are not a Super Bowl team this year, and they have to pay him next year. I mean, we'll see, right? If he plays well, if he balls out, yeah, we probably will pay him, and then that makes things difficult because we have an old roster with a lot of big contracts, and like all of a sudden you're throwing a big QB deal into the mix. Yeah, that makes things hard, and that's not ideal. But also, not to like rehash this again, but to like go back to something that we more or less kicked the offseason off with. I mean, dude, if we don't make the playoffs this year, like, I'm sorry, like, we're probably cleaning house, right? Like, we're going to completely tear it down. We kind of know that, like, we're probably not a Super Bowl team, but this is like the tail end of our window. F it. Let's at least, like, make the divisional round. That would be nice. Let's at least win one playoff game. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Maybe that's our ceiling, is only like the divisional round and we can only win in the wild card round. Dude, I'd take that over getting first rounded or being on the outside looking in. Like, you know, no, we probably won't. Like, this might sound like harsh or crazy, but like I've already accepted, like, we're probably not winning the Super Bowl in the KOC era. Like, our shot was 2024 and 2025. Like, that's just how the NFL is. That was our window. This is like maybe the tail end of it, but it already feels kind of closed. That's fine. Whatever. At this point, I've accepted, like, if we, like, won a playoff game, that would be nice. If we could, like, have a playoff game in Minnesota again, that would be nice. Who knows, man? We still might win, like, 8 games, and it's just a frustrating mix, but I'm here for it. Jack says, unless they want to roll with 9 again in 2027. I mean, if you ask around, right? And I always say stuff like this. I have to preface, I'm not necessarily doing the one asking around here. I'm just way too online, and I read and listen to a lot of stuff. But if you sort of gauge the temperature in the Vikings organization right now, at least what they'll tell you is, oh, yeah, we're not out on J.J. McCarthy. He just needs another year to develop, and then we'll pivot to him in 2027. Now, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, is it the big thing that he needs reps and he's just not getting them because he keeps getting hurt? Or now, like in this case, getting outplayed? Like, we'll see if we're actually saying that a year from now, if you know what I'm saying, right? But at least for right now, like, of course we're going to say that because we don't want to tank his value or, like, shatter his confidence. But like, let's be real, dude. Unless Kyler gets hurt, which is a very real possibility, McCarthy's not playing this year. He's not. There's no competition. People will try and tell you, like, they'll need something to report for our training camp this summer, so it's going to be like the latest from the J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray quarterback competition. Like, no, it's not a competition. It's not true. But Jack says, in terms of the Vikings being competitive this year, it's low risk, high reward. Absolutely. And I mean, it's better than, like, the fossil of Kirk, right? I mean, I've made it very clear that, like, beyond just the limited upside, I'm sorry, like, doing something like that would have just been so humiliating, you know? And Caden, no disrespect to your boy, but, like, come on. Look at how much Malik Willis is making versus how much Kyler Murray is making. Like, that's just, like, this was a gift from God that just fell into our laps. We were very fortunate that we were able to get this because there's a world where the Cardinals didn't cut him and we're just screwed. It's either pray McCarthy can play a little bit better, or it really would just be like Kirk, you know? So we were very fortunate that something kind of broke our way, even if it just means our ceiling is like one playoff win, and that's like best case scenario. You know what? I'll take it. Kyler doesn't have Gannon. Yeah, I mean, well, hey, you know, Gannon the Beast is in Green Bay now, and I'm actually pretty curious to see how that's going to look because he kind of got criticized a lot for being a more vanilla style defensive coordinator when he was with Philly. It was just like very basic stuff, right? And then he goes to Arizona. Granted, he's not calling plays on defense, but I mean, how many times have I talked about, man, they're just funky. They're not always good, but they're funky and they're weird, and it kind of makes up for it, right? All the weird fronts and the simulated pressures and the blitzes and playing guys in different positions. So I'm curious, like, how much of that was actually Gannon versus just Nick Rallis? And, you know, he's staying on board with Arizona. Gannon is now the DC in Green Bay. We'll see how weird Green Bay gets now with Gannon kind of running the defense again, as opposed to just, like, having a hand in it. But maybe you learned a thing or two from Rallis, because I thought that Cardinals defense was honestly pretty well coached, and that's got to be a nice little brownie point for him, And it's worth something if LaFleur wants him in the building, That always speaks volumes. I say it about Brandon Staley. I can say it about him too. Jack is asking, where does Kirk go now? Pittsburgh? Maybe. I mean, we'll see. We'll see about this guy, right? Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's one of the guys that's still out there. And typical Rodgers fashion, he's just like, well, I'm going to take my time and just like hog the spotlight or whatever. Pittsburgh, I could totally see. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. The Browns, I mean, they need someone at quarterback. They're not going to be able to draft one. Although there's some rumblings about the Browns maybe making a move for a quarterback on the Eagles after what happened today. I mean, where else would he go? It'd be funny if he just went back to Atlanta. I mean, they got Tua now, so they wouldn't do that. I mean, shoot, he still could go back to Minnie, I guess. Just get that veteran in the room. Just like, I mean, again, you have to prepare for, like, Kyler might get hurt. He gets hurt a lot. He's small, Raiders, I could see. No, that's true. I think that's the other match too, right? And it's like, it's kind of funny because Mendoza's very Kirk coded, but like Kirk would be a good mentor for Mendoza. I could see that. And maybe Brady's even said a lot like the reason why he got to be such a good quarterback was because he got to sit behind Drew Bledsoe for like the first year and a half. I mean, Brady has talked about that so much. You have to wonder if that factors into, like, are they going to even start Mendoza out of the gate? I think they should with all the money they've spent in free agency, but you never know, right? Welcome, Eagle-Eyed, by the way. Appreciate you tuning in. Saying the Packers defense should be really weird. Gannon is a weird guy. Pumped up for that, I guess. He is a weird guy, but I think it kind of grew on us a little bit, right? When he first got there, it was like, oh, brother, this is going to be a disaster. He's doing the whole shoo, shoo, like... People are like, bro, they really just hired an oralist Michael Scott to be their head coach. And it's probably weird to say this about a coach who like never had a winning record and who was fired after 3 years. But in a weird way, it kind of feels like his tenure there went better than it was expected to go when he first got hired. I mean, like everyone thought like, man, he might be one and done. Like that Cardinals team was so bad. And they never quite hit the hype that the football hipsters like me were giving him. But in a weird way, it feels like his tenure went a little better than it would be projected to, if that makes sense. Maybe the Raiders go for... Oh, yeah, I said that. Let's Kirk start the year? Yeah, kind of read my mind there. Oh, I know, Jack. That has a nice ring to it. Caden would love a nice goofy G. I'm Jonathan Gannon. Oh gosh, we're gonna fake the blitz on third down. All right, that's crazy. What else happened? Well, okay. Here's another big thing I wanted to talk about. This happened yesterday, and dude, the offseason is so crazy. We don't even have the link to the original story. Not that I really need it. But big news yesterday. Shout out Aqib Talib for having the scoop. How about it? Saying that the Broncos were going to add a big-time offensive weapon. How about this? Jalen Waddle, after all these trade rumors around the trade deadline, does in fact get dealt a few months later to the Denver Broncos. Big-time trade involving a lot of picks being moved around, including, of course, late first-round pick. Dolphins are now going to pick at 30th overall in this year's draft. Denver sending their one alongside a few other picks. They get a fourth in return as well as Waddle. I got to say, man, I love this trade for Denver. I think this is an awesome move for a team who really, really needed to make a splash. I mean, that was the whole big thing, right, is Denver was just kind of sitting on their hands during free agency. They'd only re-signed players from their own team, hadn't brought in anyone new, right? A team that feels so good, so close, and it's nice to bring your guys back, but you got to find ways to improve too and get over the top because that's what everyone else is doing. This is one way to do it, man. Add a little bit of juice to this offense. I think he's a fantastic compliment to Courtland Sutton, right? Sutton is the clear outside guy. He's a true X. He wins those balls down the sideline. He's a physical receiver. He can win on those in-breakers. And then to get Waddle with all of his just game-breaking speed. And someone who I think is honestly, at this point, maybe this is crazy, but I would say Waddle is maybe like a little underrated. He's a fantastic receiver that kind of got overshadowed by Tyreek Hill when both of them were just going crazy. And Waddle honestly has a lot more nuance to his game than I think a lot of people give him credit for. He is a lot more complete of a receiver than you might think. He's not just a deep ball or nothing type of guy. I mean, he's really good on some of these shorter and underneath stuff. He's honestly a pretty good possession receiver. I know he's like had drop issues in the past, but one thing I always like to point out, rookie year, pre-Tyreek Hill showing up, he really was like the underneath guy. He was the possession guy, and he played that role really well. 104 catches his rookie year, and it was on a lot of shorter stuff. He's got a pretty good route tree to him, and he's just so good after the catch. And you look at an offense where it's pretty clear we know how they're going to build their passing game out, right? This is how Denver's run their passing game for the past few years. The three biggest things that it's built on are RPOs, screens, and vertical routes downfield. Waddle excels at all those, checks all those boxes. I mean, man, like, no disrespect. Let's just take the targets that Troy Franklin got last year, give them to Jalen Waddle. We're cooking with gas, baby. This is a fantastic move. And as of right now, pre-draft might be, well, we'll see how things shake out. But genuinely, this move, I think, might make Denver the favorites in the AFC. This offense looks so complete now with how good their offensive line is. I feel great about the weapons all of a sudden. Even as, like, not the biggest Bo Nix guy ever, it's clear he gets the job done. And you add a true playmaker for him, that coaching staff, that defense, this is a sick team, dude. I love this move for Denver. I really do. They paid up a lot, but it makes so much sense. As for Miami, they're committing to the tank, right? Which I get. They're also kind of maybe setting up Malik Willis to fail a little bit. I mean, good Lord. Like, look at their receiver room now. Like, who's he going to be throwing to? They're tearing down everything. I know they just said, I think they just said today that they're not going to trade Devon Achane, but it's like, why? I mean, you might as well sell high on him, right? Like, you're tearing down everything else. His value's at an all-time high. Like, Jack, I'm sure you would endorse this, but, like, maybe not. But, like, if you're Seattle, why would you not just, like, call them and offer pick 32 for Achane right now, right? I mean, you could probably get a late first for Achane right now from a contender. I don't know, man. I mean, this dude, I think they might finish last at the division over the Jets, honestly. I mean, come on, dude. Look at this. This is this is horrible. I mean, and they've got a lot of picks, so they can address some of this in the draft, but look, Malik might be even like pretty good. We'll see for sure. But it's going to be hard to tell when you have this as your offensive supporting cast. It's going to be really hard to tell, man. I don't know. But oh, Jack is already ahead of me. Broncos had their chance. Some of the Chiefs are going to be back in the Super Bowl. We'll see. I'm still like kind of out on the Chiefs a little bit. We'll see. Oh, talking about Achane. Yeah, I see. You've had your eyes on Achane for a while. Dude, I mean, he would be so sick with the Seahawks, man. Especially once Charbonnet comes back. But apparently the Dolphins are like, nope, we're trading everyone but him. Sure. All right, whatever. Fine. But yeah, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. Caden's like, not what I meant. I misinterpreted your comment. Oh, gosh. Eagle Eyes saying he remembers when Waddle was asked pre-draft if he'd rather play with Mac Jones instead of Tua, and he picked Jones. Tough. Tough. Well, he gets to play with neither now. He'll get to play with Bo Nix, which honestly, probably the best of those three. Probably the best. Now, I'm with you, Jack. Waddle, I mean, there are a lot of, like, guys that are in that range, right? I think Waddle could actually have the production to back up putting him at, like, 9 next year, if that makes sense. Denver does like to spread the ball around a lot. They do like to run a lot. So I'm not saying he's going to go out there and get, like, 155 targets and lead the league in receiving yards. Probably not. But I think he's going to be crazy efficient. He might... This is, like, stupid, but this is, like, hyper-specific. But, like, he might get 1,200 yards on, like, 106 targets, which is that's crazy efficient, you know? And he might have like a few massive games and big spots for Denver. Like he's a guy that could go for like a $150 in the wild card round and win you that game. He does have that level that he can hit. He hasn't been like super injury prone, but you hope you can keep him healthy. But I mean, just schematically, this makes me so happy, dude. This is such a perfect fit. It really is. And also, it is kind of crazy. This past weekend, on Saturday, like a few days before the trade happened, I may or may not have traded for Jalen Waddle in one of my dynasty leagues. And now I see this, I'm like, dude, let's go. Let's go, baby. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Bo Nix, indeed, Caden. You know, I'm slightly coming around on him. I'll still probably forever be the low man because I'm stubborn and I'm always right. But honestly, like, even now, it's fair for me to say he's been better than I ever thought he would be. And honestly, he gets the job done. And I say that complimentary because, man, I wish 9 got the job done last year. That would have been nice. I don't know. I think they might have their chance again this year. We'll see. Yeah, pick 32 in a heartbeat for Achane. Yeah, that's valid. Alec Pierce wannabe. Who is this referring to? I'm wondering. The Alec Pierce wannabe. Waddle? Dude, I mean, not to like dunk on him again, but this is like, again, there's levels to this, right? Waddle just has so much more nuance to his game than Pierce does, in my opinion. Eagle Eyes saying Dolphins draft Tyson, I guess. I mean, it's a good receiver class. They have their options, that's for sure. And I'm so happy. I've really started to do my homework on this draft class a little bit more, especially like these past few days. Admittedly, I do not watch a lot of college football these days. Just don't want to say like I don't have time for it, but like, you know, Saturday is usually not my football day, right? And so admittedly, like that means I can sometimes be behind the curve when it comes to prepping for the draft. But then like usually once free agency settles down, that's when I start to lock in. So on my lunch break today, man, I was out here grinding some tape in my car in a gas station parking lot, watching some Ruben Bain tape. Love him. Love what I'm seeing from him so far. Man, watching some David Bailey. I got a few takes about him. I don't know. He's not my favorite necessarily. Starting to lock in on some of the running backs. It's not a great class. I mean, there's Jeremiah Love, obviously. How about some Jack Strand tape? Quarterback out of Minnesota State University, Moorhead. Come on now, baby. He could play. He's good. He might go like 5th round or something. He's good. D2 cannon. But I'm excited to get into the receiver class too, because there's a lot of talent here. And I watched a little bit of Jordan Tyson, and it's like, that hamstring worries me a little bit. But I kind of like how he just gets open. I kind of like it, you know? It's nice. Jack thinks the Finns can go 0-17. I mean, there's a chance, dude. I mean, as it stands right now, I think the roster will at least look a little bit better after the draft with all the picks that they have. But it's tough, dude. It's tough. Yeah, the MSUM QB. Caden, I think you sent a reel about him in the Instagram chat, did you not? Jack Strand, MSUM QB. Bryce Lance is good too. Hey, that's another one of my guys, you know. He might go like even 4th or 3rd round. He's getting like some legit pop, but dude, if you haven't been put on yet, look up Jack Strand, Minnesota State University, Moorhead. He can actually spin it. I'm not just saying it. He's like 6'5". He's got NFL size, and he can make some crazy throws. It'll never be like a starter or anything, but he could stick around in the league for a while. He'd be a fun backup with like a decent ceiling, you know. True. Jets or Dolphins can't go 0-17. Oh, the Jets. The Jets. I can't wait to talk about the Jets in a few weeks. The Jets. All right. Anything else? I mean, I already more or less talked about it. The whole Max Crosby situation, right? That was crazy. I gotta fix my chair. There we go. I mean, I don't even know who to believe at this point. I've heard so many different sides of this story. All I'll say is at the end of the day, my genuine, honest take is that the Ravens are not quite as good of a team as they would have been. And sure, that's cool that they just got Hendrickson instead and they get to keep their draft picks. As someone who can kind of be a snob about edge players at times, I think Crosby is just so much better than Trey Hendrickson, and he fills what the Ravens need just so much more as a true edge setter, someone who is almost like, I don't want to say underrated as a pass rusher. Like, he's an elite pass rusher, but his run defense is so good it almost overshadows it. Like, Crosby is just as good at getting after the quarterback as Hendrickson is, right? I don't know. At the end of the day, I think Crosby is still the better player. He's younger too. But I get if you're scared about the pulled pork knee or something like that. I get if you're the Raiders and you feel like you got screwed over. It's definitely nice that they're still able to keep their guys, which is really nice. But dude, I was in a TJ Maxx when that story broke, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. Noah Iganagabe to the Hawks, genuinely incredible signing. I mean, hey, get him in Micah McDonald, I don't hate it. Taking a swing right there. Yeah, I don't hate it. Forknell wannabe is crazy. He could spin it a little bit too. I remember that junior year homecoming game. He was spinning it to Jaden Claypool a little bit. Not to dox a few people, but I mean, they both played college sports. You could Google them, I guess. Not saying that you should. Not saying that you should. I'm going to stop talking. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else has happened, honestly. This is what I was alluding to earlier with a move being made. Eagles trading for QB Andy Dalton. You have to wonder if maybe that means that there's a market for Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee might be on the move soon. He's a name that's always gotten a lot of buzz, especially amongst the real football sickos. Like if you talk to Nate Tice, he'll probably tell you how much he wants to see Tanner McKee start. I'm honestly not quite as high on Tanner McKee. If you're the Browns or something, I get just saying, hey, whatever, let's see what happens, right? But I don't know that he's secretly Tom Brady or anything like that, right? He also, this is completely unrelated. Why does he kind of look like Nate Tice? Just a little bit. No relation, I'm sure. He's my age. That's crazy. But yeah, Tanner McKee might be on the move. I think that makes sense, right? Why else would the Eagles trade for a proven vet backup? I have to imagine they probably have a pretty tempting offer for Tanner McKee on the table right now. If you could get a third for Tanner McKee, you absolutely do that. You absolutely do that. Davis Mills 2.0, Tanner McKee is somehow overrated. I kind of get what you're saying, though. He's capable. He's competent. But I'm not jumping up and down yo, let's go. He's getting a shot. He's fine. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. We've barely seen him, but when he has come out there, I haven't been blown away or anything. I think it's just more so shocking watching a backup 6-rounder play who got a little bit of buzz coming out of college. But you're seeing all these other this might sound mean, but bum QBs in the preseason, and then Tanner McKee is actually kind of decent. It's oh wow, he's God, Maybe not. Davis Mills 2.0. I don't hate that comp, honestly. I mean, Davis Mills is fine. You don't hate him if he's in your quarterback room or if he has to make a few starts, but teams aren't lining up to sign him, I don't know. Anything else? T.Y. Hilton retired. I'm not going to lie. I had no idea he had not retired yet. I know he hung around for a weirdly long time. He had that little quick stint with the Cowboys. If you remember that sick catch he made on 3rd and 36 against the Eagles a few years ago. Yeah, he hasn't played since 2022. And that sick catch was one of 7 that year. Wow, he was with Indy until 2021. I didn't know he stuck around for that long with them. Fun fact, led the NFL in receiving yards in 2016. Just a nice little piece of trivia right there. Probably, he was a good player, but you'd never guess he was leading the league in receiving yards good, There's 1 year. Without Andrew Luck for most of the year. He also just got fed the ball too, but 156 targets is a lot. But yeah, good player, fun player. Well, you got to do it for old time's sake. We'll hit it on stream here. I'll even change my camera angle so you can really see it. For him, one last time. I don't think I hit it as cleanly as he does. Is the T-Y right? Come on now. Good times. He'll be a fun dude to remember like 25 years from now. You know what I'm saying? You might need to wait it out a little bit to like pull him out when you're just like naming players. Give it like 25 years. People gonna go crazy. Yeah, no, he's good, man. He was a dog. He was short, but he was not afraid to go over the middle of the field. He's another one of those guys where honestly, he had a lot more nuance to his game than you'd think. You see a short, speedy receiver and you think like, oh, deep threat. No, man, he could go over the middle. He had good, strong hands. He could make some tough contested catches. He was good, man. He was a fun player. Brandon Lloyd did lead the league in receiving in 2010 with Kyle Orton and Tim Tebow. That was a fun year. That was a very fun year, man. I'm about to cough up a lung. Hold on one sec. All right. That is the news. If I think of anything else, or if y'all think of anything else, you can always just drop it in chat, right? But I think we're going to get into the main event here now. It's been about 36 minutes. Cameron Meredith. Nice. I love it. Let's do this. We are going to be doing some NFL-themed March Madness brackets. Again, shout out to Caden for putting this together. Did some hard work making this happen. We've got 3 brackets here. You might see the green ones. These are the ones that we did last year. So 3 new ones. And I've only briefly looked at these. I wanted to be as surprised as possible. I got to say, I'm liking what I'm looking at right here. We've got best playoff games since 2010 per Yardbreaker and Bleacher Report. Like that. Okay. Looks like there's 8 ones in that field. And then 2 with 32. We have best coordinator duos, and every team but their best player is out. And this one fascinates me. And Caden, I know you messaged me before I went live here, just like asking if I understood it. And maybe if I click on it, I'll get more answers. But I'm curious, how do you necessarily define best player? Or is that up to me to decide? Which in that case, I think that gets really interesting. Or is there some sort of objective thing that I'm supposed to be following when determining who the best player is going to be that I remove? We might save that one for later, but that one's a very interesting one. I think we might warm up with the 8-team one. Best playoff game since 2010. Let's do it. I love this, man. Just silly stuff like this is just so much fun. We're going to go ahead and start the tournament. We've got a pretty strong field here. The 1 seed, 2012 Ravens Broncos. That was a great game, man. I remember watching that one on TV. Double overtime thriller, actually. Okay, 2010 Vikings Saints. No. I mean, objectively speaking, it was an awesome game. We've got 2021 Chiefs versus Bills as the 5 seed. Wow. Oh, man, I maybe there's like no seeding to it. Maybe you just like listed them out. I guess that probably makes more sense. Oh, that's tough versus the 2015 Packers Cardinals game. 2017 Saints Vikings. I mean, come on. 2011 Steelers Ravens. Oh, that was a solid one. That was an underrated game. Man, there's going to be some tough cuts here. 2011 Jets Pats, and then 2018 Patriots versus Chiefs. Jack says Mile High Miracle moves on. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to agree with you. And that's not even me just like being like, this one can't win. I mean, dude, this is honestly one of the best playoff games that I've ever seen. You're looking at double overtime. You have the plot line hanging over the game of Ray Lewis announcing that this playoff run was going to be his last ride and he was going to retire. One of the game's all-time greats, staring down one of the other game's all-time greats, and Peyton Manning in Denver. Ray just playing his tail off, and I think he got like 18 tackles in this game or something like that. Just a heroic performance from him. You've got Raheem the Dream looking like a little leaguer trying to field a fly ball, just whiffing on a prayer ball to Jacoby Jones. You've got Justin Tucker before everything else as a rookie with just nerves of steel, drilling game-winning kicks outdoors in the cold. Look, this game is memorable in its own right. I would argue maybe it's been a little bit tainted about some stuff that came out later, a few years later, you know. And we should have won, but that's fine. I mean, objectively a great game, right? But yeah, and ultimately this was the defining game of a miraculous Ravens Super Bowl run. Yeah, there you go. Jack saying Packers Cardinals is the greatest game he's ever watched, and so that's his pick to win it all. See, here's what's tough, man, because this is such a tough matchup for him. Look, I'm like, this is a goated game. Honestly, I think if we were like seeding these out, this would probably be a top 3 seed. This was an unbelievable game that had a little bit of everything. Overtime thriller. I mean, how about underrated part of this game? How about the OT coin flip? The coin literally not flipping, you know? Like it just did like a little rotation and just land. I mean, when do you see stuff like that? Larry Fitzgerald tried to carry this team on his back. Aaron Rodgers with the double Hail Mary. Unbelievable game. That being said, I mean, dude, come on, right? Chiefs versus Bills, maybe the greatest game ever. I mean, dude, it's just, I can't pick against this game. I totally get what you're saying. And in a perfect world, this game would be able to get a little bit more love and move on further. And you say Packers Cardinals is the greatest game you have ever watched. I think that's a very respectable take. I personally am going to be a little bit more normie and say that Chiefs Bills divisional is the greatest game that I've ever watched. I was hooting and hollering and just jumping out of my seat. I could not believe that game. I actually watched that game with a diehard Bills fan. God bless his soul, dude. Man, that was a crazy scene. But I mean, this is the defining game of our generation, I have to say. Oh, Larry gotcha. Larry gotcha a few times. So I'm going to do Chiefs Bills. It's tough to pick against that one, though. Look, come on. Maybe I'm biased, and I will not let my bias consume me to the point where I just like blindly pick it by default. But at least for the first round, look, I was at this game. This is probably a top 5 day of my life. It is one of the most iconic endings in NFL history. You have the subplot of revenge for Bountygate. Come on. The Minneapolis Miracle is moving on. Let's go. And then last one in the first round, Jets-Pats 2011. Sneaky, crazy upset. Patriots getting one and done in the divisional round by the upstart Jets, right? Brady won MVP that year. They went 14-2. They just looked unstoppable. Kind of a rare, like, egg laid in the playoffs by the Brady-Belichick Patriots. And the Bart Scott saying, can't wait, in the post-game interview. Great, fun game, honestly. The pinnacle of the Rex Ryan Jets. But this is honestly one of the more, I don't want to say underrated because it gets its love. This was a legendary game. This is a certified classic right here. 2018 Patriots versus Chiefs. How the tables have turned. Look at me, quoting The Office or whatever. The Chiefs were seen as the young upstart good guys. Everyone wanted to see Patrick Mahomes knock off big bad Brady. It was in Arrowhead. And I'm not going to lie, even if you're the most ardent Patriots hater, the aura was off the charts seeing Brady stare down all of Arrowhead in the cold and just lead an epic walk-down drive in overtime to send the Patriots to the Super Bowl. I mean, Mahomes had some magic in the second half. He had some crazy throws in the fourth quarter to send this to OT. This was an unbelievable game. I got to go this one. I remember watching this game with the fellas back in high school. By the way, legendary conference championship weekend. I got to go Patriots versus Chiefs. Jack says, funny that the winners of both those games got bounced the next week. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Really? All right, on to the next round. Is it semifinals? Yep. All right. Mile High Miracle versus Chiefs Bills. I mean, it's got to be Chiefs Bills, right? It's got to. I mean, it's all down. Like all these games at this point are like certified amazing classics. It's got to be Chiefs Bills. Next one, Minneapolis Miracle versus 2018 Patriots versus Chiefs. Call me crazy. I'm actually going to pick Patriots versus Chiefs. And the reason I say that, because I have to be objective here, right? This was an incredible game. It has an all-time great NFL ending. I was at this game, life-changing moment. But if I just look at how great the game was and beyond the fact that I was there with my dad and this is just a wholesome, pure Eric moment, like truth be told, most of the game was honestly kind of a slog. The first half was boring. The Vikings defense just put the clamps down. It was 17-0. And then the Saints hung around and things got a little interesting by the end of the third quarter. But honestly, for most of the game, it was kind of boring. And then it just ended with a bang, and there's just so much beautiful poetry with this Patriots-Chiefs game. How even though the Chiefs didn't win, you could kind of tell this was the first time when everything kind of felt real for the Mahomes Chiefs. And it's wow, this might not just be a 1 year flash in the pan. They went blow for blow with Brady and Belichick for over 60 minutes, right? Even though the Chiefs lost, this game kind of felt like a passing of the torch, a changing of the guard a little bit. And it was an awesome game. I'm going to go Patriots-Chiefs for this one. Upset right here. It was a banger. I'm with you, Jack. I'm with you. You got it right. Spot on. Eagle Eyes saying those are the two best games in the bracket. Talking about this top part. Probably. It's just tough, right? And then from here, look. This is, again, normie, easy, mainstream take. But come on. This one's going all the way. We've got Chiefs versus Bills. Divisional round. Probably the greatest football game I've ever seen. That one takes the cake and best playoff game since 2010. I like that, though. That was nice, dude. It's a nice reminder of how blessed we are as football fans, getting some awesome games, in the postseason. Maybe not so much these past few years. Well, NFC Championship was good. AFC Championship was close. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a banger, but it was a close game at least. AFC divisional round was pretty nice. That Bills-Broncos game was a classic. But, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. All right. First one. That was fun. I like that. That was good. We've got two more here. We've got every team but their best players out. And we've got coordinator duos. Oh, wait. Kaden, I have to clarify something. I suppose. You're right. You're right. There was the Bears-Rams game was pretty good. Bills Jaguars was pretty good. I guess you're right. There's some good games every round. Yeah, Pats Chargers was dude, that's right. The wild card weekend was kind of crazy. That's right. Yeah, the Bears Packers game, that was nuts. All right, you're right. I stand corrected. Even 49ers Eagles was a really close, intense game too, Yeah, Pats Chargers was tough. Texans Steelers was tough. Texans Pats was tough. But there's good games, Panthers Rams, that's right. I had that take was low-key, that was the best game of the playoffs. That game was awesome. Yeah, Panthers Rams. Yeah, true. All right, you guys are right. Kanan says there's very few selections from 2010 to now in any of the articles. Yeah. As you had to pick 8 out of a however many year span too, right? It's tough. It's tough to narrow that down to just 8. But I do have one question for you, Caden. For this one, their best players out each round. So does that mean that every round they advance, they lose another player? Or is it just their best players out for the whole tournament? Because I almost feel like that would be just as interesting if every time you won, theoretically, every time you won, you lost another player. That would be the ultimate test of depth. But if that wasn't your vision with that, then I also think that even just losing their best player for the whole tournament is also interesting. But I'll let you stew on that for a little bit. They lose a player each. Dude, I love that. That's so sick. That is so sick. All right. Oh, okay. I think we might save that one for the end then. Let's do coordinator duos. All righty. And I'm assuming there's probably no criteria here necessarily for seeding, right? I'm going to assume that. It gets replaced with the backup. I like that. So we're just going to go ahead. I won't read through all these. We'll just get to them when we get to the round. That might save a little bit of time and a little bit of breath. But, all right, we'll save that one for last then. That's awesome. This one's pretty straightforward, right? We've got coordinator duos. Who's the best coordinator duo? Let's just do it. All right, first round, we have Clayton Adams and Christian Parker of the Dallas Cowboys versus Andrew Janoko and Rob Leonard. And I'm not going to lie, like, I know Andrew Janoko, but I know he's like moved around a lot too. I have to double check. He is with the Saints. Okay. He's moved around a lot recently. I just had to make sure. Oh no, he's with the Raiders. Yeah, okay. So essentially it's Cowboys versus Raiders. I'm going to go Cowboys here. I love Clayton Adams so much. I think he deserves so much credit for really turning around that Cowboys run game last year. And I think I even highlighted this like a few months ago. But it is worth noting, Cardinals had Clayton Adams before. They had a killer run game. He was the run game coordinator. Clayton Adams leaves, goes to Dallas. All of a sudden, Cardinals run game dips down a little bit. Cowboys run game punches way above its weight. I don't know, man. I just love the brand of football he brings. He's definitely like a power run first type of guy. But he did a good job working with Schottenheimer to cook up a nice vertical passing game too. I think Clayton Adams did a phenomenal job here. I don't have like a crazy Christian Parker take or anything like that. But I think Adams is so clearly the best coordinator of the four guys here. We're going to go Cowboys. Dude, I love just like nerding out on like stupid stuff like this. All right, we've got David Blau and Durante Jones, and we've got Brian Angelico and Patrick Graham. And I'm going to out myself as a casual just a tiny bit. I might have to verify the teams of a few of these guys. So I'm pretty sure this is the Commanders, right? Because I know they fired Cliff Kingsbury. They brought in David Blau. Yep. To try and like get to a more under center style offense. And Durante Jones was an assistant under Brian Flores with Minnesota. Now he's with the Commanders. Patrick Graham is he with the Raiders? I do like Patrick. You think for as much as I've talked about Patrick Graham, I'd know where he is. No, he's with the Steelers now. That's right. Okay. That's right. Okay. Not that the team like matters that much, but yeah. Do I remember who was running the ball for Arizona last year? They had their third string for most of the year. That is true. I will grant you that. Like, they certainly did have less talent, but also I just wasn't as inspired by it, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's stupid to say, and I'm shamelessly pushing Clayton Adams' agendas, but man, it's tough because like Blau doesn't really have any experience as an OC. Durante Jones doesn't either as a DC. He's just been an assistant. And yet, I weirdly think I might pick them. Even though I really like Patrick Graham, I really want to see what sort of carryover Durante Jones has from working under Brian Flores, and if he can kind of integrate more creative stuff into a Dan Quinn defense that's kind of gotten stale. Maybe this is stupid. I might actually go Blau and Jones. Look at that, showing some love for the Commanders. We've got Wes Phillips, Brian Flores, Brian Dable, and Gus Bradley. I mean, come on, look. Flores alone carries enough. Phillips maybe doesn't do anything too crazy because he's not calling plays. I wonder if he should. You know, I've talked about that enough. We'll go Flores here. Dable's an all-right offensive coordinator. I don't know what to think of Gus Bradley in the big 2026, to be honest with you. He kind of seems like an artifact of the past. He hasn't had a good defense in a hot minute. We'll go Flores and Phillips. Oh, Press Taylor, that's right. Oh, no. Press Taylor versus Frank Reich. Good Lord. Oh, my gosh. Can I eliminate both? Dude, this is crazy. I'm with you, Eagle Eyes. Look, I got genuinely upset when the Jets fired Tanner Engstrand and then brought in Frank Reich. And then we got Press Taylor on the other side. Good Lord. I guess Eric Washington is cool. I don't know what to say, man. I don't feel great about either of those duos. We'll go Press Taylor and Eric Washington. Good Lord. Brian Fleury and Aiden Dirty versus Eric Bieniemy and Steve Spagnuolo. Well, my take about Spags is honestly, I think he's like a little washed. I don't think he had the greatest year last year. He's like, I think coaches honestly can kind of get washed a little bit. No, I'm with you, Jack. Bieniemy's not like that inspiring of a hire to me. It's like, okay, cool. You're trying to run back the 2018 team again. I'm with you. I'm with you. Even though these are definitely the way bigger names. We've got Adam Stenovich and King Gannon versus Dan Pitcher and Al Golden. Packers versus Bengals. I thought Al Golden did all right with the Bengals last year, all things considered. He wasn't peak Lou Anarumo or anything like that. And I think it was tough seeing the Colts at least have their moments with Lou last year. Dan Pitcher's just whatever. I mean, he's a non-play calling OC and the most vanilla offensive staff in the league. I probably will go Pack here too. Gannon at least intrigues me a little bit. Oh, okay, come on. This is low-key a fun matchup, especially with how fun Lou has been. But I mean, surprise, surprise, Rams Glazer. I mean, dude, they are probably like the favorites. Nate Scheelhaus and Chris Shula. I'm sorry, that's a crazy duo right there. They're probably the favorites in this. No, that's insane. Yeah. Drew Petzing, Kelvin Shepard, Bobby Slowick, and Sean Duggan. I guess the Lions. I guess. I don't feel amazed. I feel lukewarm about the Petzing hire. I at least see like how it'll work well with Jared Goff and the run game for the most part. I see the vision at least. I think his stock has fallen a little bit. And Kelvin Shepard, I mean, he's fun. You know, I'd love to play for him, but he's not like crazy innovative. Yeah, I mean, it's either that or Slowick and Duggan. We'll go Lions. Clay Kubiak and Raheem Morris, talking about the 49ers. And Mike McDaniel and Chris O'Leary. Chris O'Leary's got very big shoes to fill here. I do think the defense might fall off a little bit without Minter. Mike McDaniel's an OC only just fascinates me. I can't wait to see how this Chargers offense looks. DC only Raheem is kind of nice too, though. No, we'll go McDaniel and O'Leary. We'll go McDaniel. Yeah, we'll go Chargers. Yeah. I can't wait to see how this Chargers offense evolves. Mike McDaniel, OC only. Let's go, baby. Let's do it. Oh, look at that. Full circle. Nick Rawlis mentioned. We've got Nathaniel Hackett and Nick Rawlis versus Tommy Reese and Mike Rutenberg. Looking at the Cardinals versus the Falcons. I think I'm going to go Cardinals here. I know Nathaniel Hackett has kind of been a little bit of a punching bag at times, a little bit of a punchline. But again, OC only, not bad, honestly. Quality control type of guy, especially with Mike LaFleur calling the plays there most likely. He's just kind of there for the vibes and game planning a little bit. And I love Nick Rawlis. I think he's one of the most underrated assistants in the league. I think he's an awesome defensive coordinator. Tommy Reese is something I'm not like super excited about for the Falcons. Yeah, we'll go Nick Rawlis. Let's do it. Well, I mean, we'll go Cardinals, not just Nick Rawlis, but he's the biggest reason why probably. Oh, this is a great matchup right here. Eagles versus Chargers. We've got Sean Mannion and Vic Fangio versus Grant Udinsky and Anthony Campanale of the Jaguars. Fangio is definitely the most proven and best of all the guys here. Mannion is a complete unknown. We have no idea what his offense is going to look like. Udinsky has always been like the golden boy, and Campanale did a really good job with the defense last year. I think overall I have to go Jaguars, even though it's really hard to pick against Vic Fangio, and I feel like, Mannion will probably not be like a total disaster. I mean, who knows, right? I think I'll go Jaguars here, though. We're cruising. Brad Idzik and Ejiro Avero versus Josh McDaniel and Zach Kerr. Ooh. Also, I wonder, there's an Idzik that used to be a GM at the Jets, right? That name rings the bell. Well, you got Panthers and Patriots. And I'm going to go Panthers. I really like me some Ejiro Avero. I'm not going to say Josh McDaniels is overrated. I think he's all right. His offense rips when the quarterback is good, but he doesn't do a lot to necessarily help out the QB if they're not like Drake May, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm with you with Panthers. Yeah. Matt Nagy. Yeah. Denard Wilson, I do like, though, versus Davis Webb, Vance Joseph. I got to go Broncos. Yeah, we'll see about Webb. He's a little bit of an unproven. And I do really like Denard Wilson, but I like Vance Joseph just as much. I know for sure Matt Nagy isn't that great. I mean, even as an OC only with the Chiefs the past few years, it's just like, man, I don't see the vision, honestly. I do not see the vision. Oh, you said, okay. I totally misread that. Whoopsies. We'll go Broncos here, though. We'll go Broncos. Zach Robinson, Casey Rogers, and Larry Foote talking about the Bucks versus Declan Doyle, Anthony Weaver talking about the Ravens. We're going to go Ravens. I mean, I gassed this staff up so much when I did my coaching stream. And I actually kind of went to bat for Zach Robinson a weird amount this past weekend. Was hanging out with some Falcons fans. And they were laughing about the Bucks getting him. And I was like, call me crazy. Like, I actually don't hate Zach Robinson. I thought he was okay. But Declan Doyle has such a crazy ceiling. And Anthony Weaver, I know, is like a legit dude as a DC. We'll go Ravens. Pat's low-key top 3 and they lost to the Panthers. I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of it might depend on where you come in on Josh McDaniels. I'm just a bit lower on him. I think he's all right. Travis Switzer and Jeff Ulbrich. Wait, did Ulbrich end up leaving the Falcons? Hold on. I thought the whole thing was like he was going to stay on. Am I tripping? Or is he still with the Falcons? He's still there, right? Let's see what Wikipedia says. Yeah, he's still with the Falcons. Okay. Well, then maybe there's like a typo or something. Travis Switzer. Hold on. Because I know I'm like 99% sure Tommy Reese is the OC. Anyways, regardless. Versus Nick Caley and Matt Burke. Oh, I didn't love what Nick Caley did with the Texans last year. I thought it was okay. And Burke is just kind of like a vibes guy there. We'll go Switzer and Ulbrich just because I think Ulbrich did a pretty good job with the Falcons last season. We'll go Switzer and Ulbrich. All right, we've got one more here before we get to the second round. Doug Nussmeier, Brandon Staley versus Pete Carmichael Jr. and Jim Leonard. Oh, these are two of my favorite DCs in the league right here going at it. Oh, we're going to go Bills. We'll go Pete Carmichael Jr. and Jim Leonard. Pete Carmichael is just like such a floor raiser as your OC. Nothing too crazy, but like you know what you're going to get. And he pairs well with Joe Brady. Got that overlap and that experience. And I'm so excited for the Jim Leonard experience in the NFL. I think he's going to be awesome. He is right there with the curve right now of what's working defensively in the NFL. He's done such a good job developing players, getting the most out of them. I mean, think about all these fun hybrid players to come out of Wisconsin. Leo Chenal, Zach Bond, Andrew Van Ginkel. That's been Jim Leonard's handprints all over it. I think he's going to be so much fun with the Bills. All right. 32 down to 16. Oh, baby. Let's go. All right. Round of 16. Sweet 16. Clayton Adams and Christian Parker versus David Blau and Durante Jones. Give me the Cowboys. Wes Phillips, Ryan Flores, Press Taylor, Eric Washington. Vikings move on, baby. Call me crazy. Vikings move on. Let's go. Flores is carrying, and Phillips is fine. Fleury and Dirty versus Stenovich and Gannon. Oh. We'll go Stenovich and Gannon. Stenovich at least intrigues me a little bit. He might get some rumblings in head coaching cycles soon. Skip the long cutscene to the Rams winning. Well, you know, they've got a pretty good chance. I don't know. Shoehouse and Shula. I mean, come on. Like, yeah, Shoehouse and Shula are at least winning this matchup for sure. Like, how much do I really need to talk about it, right? McDaniel and O'Leary versus Hackett and Rawlis. We'll go Chargers. Udinsky, Campanelli, Idzik versus Avero, or Idzik and Avero. We'll go Jags. Jags are going to go far, I think. I do like the Jags a lot in this tournament. Webb and Joseph, Declan Doyle, Anthony Weaver. This is a great matchup right here. Oh, man. Broncos versus Ravens. Both these OCs are just such mysteries. We're going to go Ravens. We're going to go Ravens. Call me crazy. We're going to go Ravens. Switzer, Albrecht, Carmichael, and Leonard, we're going to go Bills. All right, here we go. Elite Eight. Now we're starting to cook with gas. Now we're rocking. I'm going to cough. Goodness gracious. All right. Clayton Adams and Christian Parker. Well, Wes Phillips and Brian Flores. I'm a little surprised that the Cowboys are still here. We're going to go Phillips and Flores. I mean, I think we have to, right? I think that's pretty sensible. Maybe if you disagree, you can call me out in chat, but I feel like that's valid. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised, even with Flores, I'm surprised the Vikings are in the Final Four. Stanovich, Gannon, Shoehouse, Shula. Yeah. Come on. We're going through the cutscene right now. Chargers versus Jaguars. This is a great matchup right here. McDaniel, O'Leary, Udinsky, Campanelli. And I think I have to give it to the Jags just because I at least feel a little bit more certain about their DC. And their OC has been doing a good job for a while now for a couple of different teams. We'll go Chargers. And then we've got Ravens versus Bills. We're going to go Ravens to the Final Four. How about that? All right, Final Four. We've got Vikings versus Rams. Unfortunately, the buck stops here for the Vikings. It's just going to be so hard to pick against Shieldhouse and Shula. It really is. Shieldhouse might be a slight unknown, and he hasn't called plays. But again, as the passing game coordinator, and if you ask around the Rams staff, like there's just so much praise to be heaped onto him of how he's integrated Matthew Stafford into this offense and sort of bridge the gap of what Stafford wants to do and what McVay wants to do and integrating some more shotgun into it, you know? And then we've got Jaguars versus Ravens. Give me the Jags. And then we'll have, you're right, Jack. The Rams. I mean, come on, dude. This is the best coordinator duo in football. It has to be, right? Would it really shock you if both these guys got hired next year? You could honestly kind of say the same about the Jags, too. I'm assuming the emoji is supposed to signify glazing. Maybe a little bit, but come on, man. I mean, come on. They're good. I don't know. That's fun. I like getting some coordinator talk in there a little bit. That's like perfect off-season content right there. You know, where else are you gonna find a bracket of all 32 teams' coordinator duos and someone breaking down who's better? This is real ball right here. Let's go, baby. All right, last one. I think we're saving the best for last here. This one's awesome. Every team, but their best player is eliminated each round that they move on. And this one, it is seeded. Oh, okay. You got a little description here too. They lose their best player each round. I'm assuming this is just the draft order, right? You've got Raiders versus Seahawks to start things off and so on and so on. All right, this is phenomenal right here, Caden. I got to say, I got to give you your flowers, man. This is awesome. All right, let's do this. Round 1, Raiders versus Seahawks. Oh, shoot, I got to start tournament. Okay. Round 1, I mean, look, come on. Respectfully, we could probably get a few rounds in. We could take a few players from the Seahawks roster. I guess I should probably pull up a depth chart so I can, like, determine who is going to be removed, right? And I can kind of, like, highlight that. I mean, I guess, like, our lads. But I guess I probably should do that so that I at least like have a clearer idea of who's going to be going, who I would define as each team's best player, right? I mean, for Seattle, probably JSN we'd get rid of. And then for the Raiders, I mean, I guess Max Crosby because he's still there, right? I mean, it probably doesn't make that big of a difference either way in this case. It's going to be the Seahawks pretty easily. Seahawks move on. They're without JSN, and then a player to be named later next round. Seahawks are going to go so far since they get to eliminate their punter after round 2. I don't know about that. Look, Dixon is good, but maybe we'll have to exclude special teams, because that might almost like work in benefit of a team. We'll see. But yeah, we'll get rid of JSN for the Seahawks. All right. Oh, and then we go straight from that to a very fascinating matchup. Lions versus Colts. Okay, for the Lions, I think instinctively I want to say best player for them is probably Jahmyr Gibbs. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Maybe you could argue Sewell too. I think totally valid. Oh, I'm going to say Gibbs, though. I'm going to say Gibbs for round 1. I think it's just a little bit better than Sewell. I mean, we're comparing across positions, And then for the Colts, it's probably Quentin Nelson, who you'd say is their best player, right? Maybe Jonathan Taylor, too. That's also cool. Tanner Bortolini quietly had a really good year, but I wouldn't call him as their best player, Kenny Moore still good, doing the thing. Their defensive tackles are good. But yeah, it's probably just Quentin Nelson. So we'd take away Quentin Nelson, Josh Sills steps in, and then it'd be Pacheco starting for the Lions. And even though I think that's a significant downgrade, I still think the Lions are a lot better of a team than the Colts are. I think they got weirdly like a little unlucky last year. Jack's thinking maybe Colts. Interesting. Care to elaborate? I'm genuinely curious. I mean, I do think like losing Gibbs would be a big blow, and especially without Monty now, like Pacheco's not Monty. He's just not as good, right? I like what they're building on the offensive line. They do need to figure out left tackle. But I think it could be back to a more acceptable level this year. Defense does have some questions, though. It's like that pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson is rough, dude. I'm sorry. DJ Wanham is not good. I don't see the vision with that, but they still got enough talent on there. I think they just can out blue chip the Colts a little bit. You might go Colts, though. I can at least respect that a little bit, but I'll go Lions here. Lions move on. They're without Jahmyr Gibbs. Chiefs, Jaguars. Well, for the Chiefs, we're looking at no Mahomes, and for the Jaguars, I mean, we're probably looking at no Lawrence, right? Unless I'm like forgetting about someone. And the Jaguars have like a pretty good roster all around, but I don't think it's crazy for saying that Trevor's their best player. No, Mahomes for sure for the Chiefs, and you almost hope that I don't count him as injured, because if I was like, oh, he's injured and he's already out, then they'd be even more screwed, because then I'd be taking away Chris Jones round 1. So we'll say no Mahomes. I guess, yeah, that's right. New backup Justin Fields in now versus Nick Mullins for the Jags. Yeah, I think I'm going Jags here, man. I just really am not a big fan of this Chiefs roster, and we saw how horrible they looked without Mahomes. We'll go Jaguars here. Been pretty chalky so far, but things will get interesting. Jack says he thinks Gibbs is a big deal, and he still likes the Colts defense, especially if Sauce gets healthy and doesn't suck. Nah, that's fair. That's fair. The Colts defense is sneaky good. They've got some players on every level. I get that. And yeah, losing Gibbs would hurt a lot. You lose a lot of that explosiveness. You'd have to really rely on Jameson Williams to get those big plays. You'd say Josh Hines-Allen for the Jags. He's good. I could get down with that. He'd probably be the next guy. For next round, he's probably out, I could get down with that. Hey, what about my boy Trayvon Walker, too? Hines-Allen's probably a little bit better, but Walker's playing good ball. All right. Bears, Saints. All right. For the Bears, best player. Probably one of the linemen, right? Probably Joe Thuney. Best player for the Bears, I would say. That would be a significant loss. That would hurt a lot. We'll probably say Joe Thuney for the Bears. Jordan McFadden would step in at left guard. Yeah, I mean, that interior is a little scary, especially with Bradbury there now instead of Drew Dahlman. And you've got no Thuney. That's not nothing. That's a little scary. That makes running their offense a lot harder. And then for the Saints, Maybe Olave. I could be really. Wait, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go full doctor. Their best player is Eric McCoy. Dude, he's so good. I don't care. He's like an all pro level center. It's probably not scary enough. Yeah, you're probably right. I do kind of like this roster a little bit, though. I've got a weird fascination with the Saints right now that I can't wait to explore all offseason. Call me crazy. I'm saying Eric McCoy is their best player. Olave is legit, too, though. Yeah. And even like Chase Young is quietly starting to play some good ball with New Orleans. Carl Granderson, he's not their best player, but like he's a guy, you know. But yeah, it's definitely, if you're going to be rational, it's someone on offense, I would say. I'm going to say Eric McCoy, but yeah, Olave is good too. Either way, regardless, I think we're looking at a Bears win here. Still pretty chalky so far. Giants, Texans. Okay. Texans, I'm going to say probably Will Anderson Jr. No Will Anderson Jr. Take away half of that sick pass rush. And then the Giants, Dexter Lawrence probably, right? Even though he was like pretty injured last year. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's like that guy. Taking away a blue chip defender from each team. I mean, at least, look, like I like the Giants front enough, but I will say, like, removing Lawrence from the equation hurts a little bit. Obviously, same could be said about taking away Will Anderson Jr., but you've still got Danielle Hunter. I guess I would argue Logan Hall would step in as the starter instead of Anderson, and he could play like that similar style of role. They wouldn't drop off as much, even though it'd suck losing a guy like that. And the rest of the defense is just so stacked. You'd almost say, you could say Brian Burns. He did have a really good year last year, and he's been a good player for a while. You could say Brian Burns. You could say Andrew Thomas, honestly. I might say the Giants probably aren't going to move on. Oh, I'd almost argue Andrew Thomas. If anything, that would like, I won't be disingenuous. Here's one case, though, where like, if you moved Andrew Thomas in this matchup, the Giants might get shut out. Like this defense would whoop them with no Andrew Thomas. It's probably Thomas, Lawrence, or Burns, though, for sure, right? But yeah, the Texans got him. Things will really start to get interesting once we're removing multiple players from the equation, you know? But yeah, Texans got him here. All right. Steelers, Cowboys. Oh, okay. Cowboys, I think it's probably one of the receivers. I would still argue CeeDee's a little bit better than Pickens, even though Pickens was just awesome last year. And I think in a weird way that probably helps the Cowboys because there's proof of concept of that offense working really well, even when, like, say, Pickens is hurt for a game or CeeDee is hurt or, like, has a down game or something, right? In a weird way, I think you feel all right if you remove just one of the receivers for the Cowboys. Obviously, it takes away their superpower a little bit, but they can kind of work around it. As far as the Steelers go, whoopsies, did not want to do that. How do I undo that? I've never done that before in my life, but that's actually kind of good to know I can do that. I did not know I could do that. That's awesome. Steelers' best player. It's probably Cam Hayward. I would say it's Cam Hayward at this point, which is crazy because he's like so old. And yet, TJ Watt is like more washed than Cam Hayward is. I'm going to say it's Cam Hayward as their best player. Yeah. So no Cam Hayward, and we'll say no CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys here. Maybe you could argue Quinnen Williams. I would hear that out. Maybe you could argue Tyler Smith. I'd hear that out. Maybe you can argue Dak. I'd hear that out. But no, it's probably CeeDee, right? It's probably CeeDee. And yeah, I mean, dude, their defense is just cooked, especially if they lost Hayward. It's already kind of old and hanging on by a thread as is. Losing that space eater up the middle, not to mention someone who's still an elite pass rusher at that age. Yeah, it's got to be the Cowboys moving on here. Eagle Eye says Brian Burns had inflated production last year as a big-time regression candidate. That's fair. I mean, you could say that like some of his sacks were lucky or like coverage sacks. I think that's fair. I'm not saying he'll get like 15 sacks again, but he's also been a proven good pass rusher for a while too. I mean, he's had at least like similar seasons before. But I get where you're coming from. But yeah, we'll go Cowboys here. Kind of like Dallas a little bit. This is the first time, I believe this is the first quote unquote upset as far as like the team picking high or winning, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. Yeah. There you go. First upset. All right. Oopsies. Falcons. Wait. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's figure out who is. Oh, because the Cowboys have multiple picks, right? Wait. This should be Falcons Packers, I believe, right? I believe this should be Falcons Packers. I totally see how this happened. Cowboys have multiple first round picks. Okay. I think I've clocked that it's the Packers. Falcons versus Packers. Packers best player. I don't even have to look it up. It's Micah, dude. It's Micah Parsons. He's their best player. Falcons, it's Bijan. I will say, no, I mean, there's no Algier now. If there was Algier there, I could almost talk myself into a world where the Falcons pull off the upset, but I don't know, man. Like, Atlanta's just got so many holes on their defense as is, and even if the Packers lose Micah, like, that's not great. And we did see their defense kind of slide down a little bit sans Micah Parsons last year, but we'll go Packers. We just have to remember, this one's the Packers. All right. Rams versus Titans. Titans, we're looking at Jeffrey Simmons. Rams, we're looking at Puka Nacua. Let's skip the cutscene. Am I right? I mean, hey, no Puka Nacua in London. No problem for the Rams against the Jags. Certainly no problem against a Jeffrey Simmons-less Titans. Now, if you wanted to argue Stafford as their best player, then maybe that makes things a little bit more interesting. Because then it'd be Jimmy G coming in for the Rams, right? And I weirdly think that he would do all right in that offense, especially if you got to keep Puka. I will say, though, the Rams are 1-2. Oh, it's Stetson Bennett. Where's Jimmy G now? It's Stetson Bennett. Here's what I'll say. Round 2, things get a little hairy for the Rams, I would say. Because all of a sudden you're looking at no Puka and then Stetson Bennett as your quarterback. That's when things start to get a little bit interesting. He will just go next. They, weirdly, even though I'd argue they're the best team in the NFL, they might be in danger pretty soon in this style of tournament. That's what makes it so interesting. But we'll go Rams at least right here. Oh, Rams might be out soon. I mean, let's just like sneak ahead. Oh, against the Packers. Interesting matchup. Interesting matchup. All right. Cardinals versus Broncos. Broncos, I'm going to say their best player is Quinn Miners. You could say Nick Benito, too. You could say Zach Allen. Or you could say Patrick Surtain, honestly. It probably is Surtain. Look at me, just always wanting to pick the lineman. It's probably Surtain. And then with the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett. No. We'll say Surtain for the Broncos. And, I mean, Josh Sweat was pretty good last year. Budda Baker's still doing his thing. McBride. It's probably Trey McBride. Yeah, it's McBride. Okay. No Surtain, no McBride. I mean, this offense is just not nearly as inspiring without McBride. When you don't have, like, he is their number one, right? And also, he and Jacoby have such a good connection, too. That offense ain't doing a whole lot against the Broncos defense, even if there's no Surtain out there. We're going to go Denver. We're cruising. Broncos probably will go far because there is probably something to be said about teams who their quarterback is like their 8th best player or whatever. Like just the difference in not having your backup quarterback have to come in. You're totally right. This is probably set up well for like the Broncos. You could say the Eagles probably well set up for this too. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. And you're saying that in chat too. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Versus like the Bills might be cooked pretty soon, you know. They'll get hurt by this format a lot. Panthers, Ravens. Okay. Ravens, I'm still going to say Lamar. Panthers? Derek Brown, maybe. J.C. Horn, maybe. Robert Hunt, maybe. Trying to show the big guys some love. Damian Lewis was a dude for them last year. and has kind of been a dude since he got there. We'll go Derek Brown, though. Derek Brown is like an all-pro level player. He is just phenomenal. We'll go Derek Brown, and then who are they playing against? The Ravens. No Lamar for the Ravens. I think you might be right, Jack. I mean, let's take a look. Who's their quarterback that would be coming in? I think you might be right. The mighty Panthers might have this one. They have heart. It's Tyler Huntley. Yeah, I mean, it's just so much harder to get excited about this offense when you don't have Lamar, right? He is the center of everything. The defense should be better, though. I'm with you. I'm taking the Panthers. Let's go. Let's go. Keep pounding. Yeah, it's Snoop Huntley. All right, Panthers moving on. Dolphins or Chargers? Okay. Good Lord, who's the Dolphins' best player? Who's the Dolphins' best? Oh, it's Achane. Devon Achane. Good Lord. I mean, if you take Devon Achane away, maybe you could argue it's Zach Sealer, but like it's probably Devon Achane. Is this the worst offense ever if you take away Devon Achane? I mean, good Lord, dude. Pray for Malik. And they're playing against the Chargers. Like, well, a Herbertless Chargers isn't exactly great either. Or you could argue no Alt or no Slater. I mean, their offense is probably cooked no matter what. I think the Dolphins are cooked more. Just like, it might be the worst offense ever with Achane. Yeah. Yeah. Caden's loving this even more than I anticipated. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what's like half the fun is figuring out like who you'd consider as the best player, you know? And you know me, I'm not going to take positional value too much into it. So that's what it's like. Yeah, like sometimes it's nice when all you're losing is your all-pro D tackle, even though like that sucks, obviously. It's better than losing your MVP quarterback. It's definitely Herbert, Slater, Alt. Probably Herbert or just Slater. I think we can cut Alt out of the conversation, even though he's good. Those are the top three. Tuli's good. He'd be 4. This team ain't making it 4 rounds, you know? Here's what I'll say. Regardless, the Chargers are going to win. And regardless, the next round, someone else is going to be out. So we'll get rid of Herbert now. And that's not great. But I think if you're the Chargers, you might give the tie to Herbert just to get it out of the way, I guess. I don't know. There's no logic behind that. But yeah, we'll go Chargers. We'll go Chargers here. If the Chargers had Nathan Peterman, they still beat the Finns by 30. Eagle Eyes saying worse than the 2019 squad. At least they had Fitz Magic. Yeah, they had some vibes. They're fun. Devontae Parker, random 1,200-yard season, anyone? You know, let's go. Let's go. All right. Next round here. Look at that. We're creeping down through the round of 32. 49ers, Browns. Well, Browns, you're taking away Myles Garrett, which, oh boy. Oh boy. And for the 49ers, best player? Man, I mean, you could argue Trent, probably, right? You could argue Kittle. I know he dealt with injuries last year. CMC, maybe. I would pound the table for Trent over CMC as the best player. Or Nick Bosa, maybe. I'm going to say Trent. And I do think this is one case where losing the left tackle really cooks the offense, man. I mean, look at the rest of this offensive line. Only other guy I really feel good about is Dominic Pooney. And their record and their points per game without Trent Williams kind of speaks for itself. Oh, it could be Fred Warner, too. Yeah, it could be Fred Warner. It's probably Trent or Fred Warner. Oh... losing Fred Warner cooks the defense. I mean, we saw that last year. This is a team that's probably going to be out pretty quickly. They do not have a lot of depth. Caden saying CMC. Oh, he's probably 3rd. I think it's probably, I might say 4th. I still think Kittle's, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say CMC's overrated, but like, he's still pretty good. He's still very good, but I would take Kittle, Trent, and Warner, and maybe even Bosa over him. You might have sold me on Warner, Jack. We'll say no Fred Warner. And in a weird way, I think that almost helps the 49ers more. They'll win this one, but man, they might be out next. Whoa, I don't know. They get a pretty good matchup against the Chargers. That is a very favorable matchup in a tournament like this. I don't know. Maybe they'll somehow... Dude, they would get waxed by the Broncos, though, in round 3. I cannot wait to see some of these later matchups, dude. Those are going to be hilarious. All right. Oopsies. Commanders, Bills. See, this is where it gets interesting. Bills were taking away Josh Allen, right? Almost no debate about that whatsoever. I like to always think, well, there's more than the quarterback. It's Josh. It's Josh, right? And that hurts them. You've got Kyle Allen coming in. And then for the Commanders, best player on the Commanders. Maybe Jaden Daniels. Maybe Laramie Tunzel. He had a nice bounce back here. This might sound crazy because I've always been like so critical of this team. Let's say you took away Jaden Daniels here, right? I almost want to pick the Commanders in the weirdest way possible. Just because without Daniels, they don't really have to... Well, I guess they're bringing in their new OC, but like, this would have been easier to sell me with Cliff. Yeah, Tunsil, you can make the argument for. It probably is Tunsil, honestly. Here's what... Okay, if it's Tunsil, I actually really like Brandon Coleman a lot. I think he's a starting caliber player, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed that, like, the big thing... Like, I get why you brought in Laramie Tunsil, but also... Giving up all that draft capital and taking on that contract when I really liked Brandon Coleman, I would have liked to see him get another shot. I might say it's so hard. Well, I was very critical of the OA signing, but I honestly like some of the other moves they made. Luvu and Chanel is such a fun linebacker duo. Tim Settle's just like a solid role player. I like the Nick Cross signing at safety. Call me crazy. I'm taking the Commanders without Josh Allen for the Bills. I've been sold. I'm taking the Commanders. That's crazy. That's crazy, but it low key probably would be true. That would probably happen. Oh, this is fascinating stuff. Let's go. All right. Eagles versus Bengals. Eagles best player, probably Lane Johnson, right? Maybe you could say Saquon. I would say Lane Johnson. Take away Lane Johnson. Okay. Cam Williams steps in. Line is still pretty solid. Not quite a superpower, but it's fine. You know, you still feel great about the defense. Maybe not a Super Bowl caliber team like some were saying, but whatever. Bengals, it's probably no Chase. And yeah, I think that just hurts the Bengals too much. I mean, that's like, you're right. They probably do spank them. I mean, that's how the Bengals win games. Granted, they haven't even done that a lot recently, but it's just having such an overpowering collection of weapons and an elite quarterback. That's how they win games. Even though I kind of like some of the moves they made this offseason, this is not a well-rounded team. Yeah, Eagles win. They spank them. General racial commies run into by Eagles again? Probably. A little foreshadowing. All right. Bucks Vikings. No Jefferson for the Vikings. Buccaneers best player. Maybe it's Vita Vea. Maybe it's Tristan Wirfs. Probably one of those two guys, right? No Jefferson for the Vikings. Oh. And we'll say no Tristan Wirfs for the Bucks. Call me biased. I'm picking the Vikings here. I think especially if the Bucks lose a little bit on their offensive line, Vikings defense, I think that's such a bad matchup for Baker Mayfield. Even though with no Jefferson, you still have Addison, right? I don't know. You feel okay about the weapons at least, and Kyler is there. Yeah, it probably is Wirfs. Give me the Vikings. Am I crazy for taking the Vikings here, even with no Jefferson? We've seen them have pretty good offenses, even when Jefferson's been out with injury. Yeah, give me the Vikings. Probably won't last long, but it's chill. Patriots and Jets. Jets best player. 1 second. It's not Armand Membu, is it? I mean, he's up there. He's up there. Or it's Brees or Garrett. Man. I mean, Garrett Wilson was out for a lot of last year, and low-key, they kind of made it work a little bit. Yeah, the Vikings defense is probably what really puts us over the top. Man. All of a sudden, I'm looking at this depth chart. It's like, yeah, the offense might be fun, but this defense sucks. Yeah, I guess we'll go Garrett Wilson. Patriots lose May, but they still beat the Jets. I guess. I don't feel great about it, but I guess they do. That's probably just being rational, right? Josh Dobbs is the quarterback. Yeah, they're winning. They got Dobbs. They're winning. Josh Dobbs taking us to the promised land. All right. Whew. That was the round of 32. Let's go. That was a lot of fun. Here we go. This is where things get really interesting. Now we're starting to remove multiple players from the equation. And we've got some banger matchups here now, too. I feel like we've filtered out a lot of like the... It's crazy the Commanders are still here. Only top 10 pick teams still in here, correct? Yep. That's crazy. Commanders are just in here. All right. Seahawks versus Lions. Now we've got to figure out that second player / remember the first player that we removed. I believe for the Seahawks, first guy that we took away was JSN. The first guy we took away for the Lions was Jahmyr Gibbs. So now, second best player on the Seahawks. I might lob this one up to you, Jack, saying lose Spoon or Ernest Jones and the Lions lose Hutch. I might say Spoon for the Seahawks. Ernest Jones is a good call too. And I would also maybe not yet. I think you could at least consider Byron Murphy. He was so good last year. And Leonard is still there too, right? We'll say no Devin Witherspoon for the Seahawks. So now no JSN, no Devin Witherspoon. Just pretty much take away that one draft class. Probably Hutch for the Lions. I'm going to say Sewell over Hutch. I promise I don't have a personal beef with Aiden Hutchinson. I would say Sewell too, Caden. No Sewell or Gibbs? Oh, boy. Yeah, I'll probably go Seahawks too. Yeah. We'll go Seahawks. Seahawks are going to go far. You know, and it's not even like Darnold is bad, but like he's far down the list on like best player, you know. Makes us say Hawks even more. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Although I will say no Hutch in that pass rush is an absolute nothing burger for the Lions. That would hurt them a decent amount. All right. Jaguars versus Bears. Okay. No Tooney so far for the Bears and no Trevor Lawrence so far for the Jaguars. I think now if you're the Jaguars, next guy you're looking at losing is probably Josh Hines-Allen. Yeah, I would say Josh Hines-Allen. Maybe. I love Trayvon Walker so much. We'll say Josh Hines-Allen. No Trevor Lawrence. No Josh Hines-Allen. And then for the Bears, no Tooney. And probably no Darnell Wright, honestly. I mean, their offensive line was just so good last year. I don't think you could quite sell me on Caleb being the second best player on the team. I don't like anyone on their defense that much, or I'd say they're the second best player. Honestly, like the other guy I was kind of considering, call me crazy, but the other guy I was considering is Colston Loveland. But we'll say Darnell Wright. Man, I think I might go Jacksonville here. I mean, that offensive line would just be overmatched without Tooney and Wright. Jaguars still have all their weapons on offense. I guess they've got Nick Mullins out there, but I mean, Jaguars' weapons and Liam Cohen versus his Bears defense is a matchup I like. Jack is saying Bears for sure because they keep Caleb. That's fair. They do have their quarterback. I think a Trevorless offense could do some damage on this Bears defense. I really do. I'm just not super high on them. And yes, like keeping Caleb is huge. I mean, man. do you feel great about them holding up in pass pro, especially against a well-coached Jaguars defense? Even with no Josh Hines Allen, you still have got Armstead and Walker that can get after the quarterback. Dennis Gardeck is a nice blitzer from the linebacker spot. I'm going to go Jags. Call me crazy. I'm going to go Jags. This is probably the first time a team without like their star quarterback wins. Jack vehemently disagrees. Love that word. I'm probably out on my own on this one, but I'm going to go Jaguars here. And I say this as someone that doesn't even think the Bears are going to crazy regress this next season. But I'm just so offensive line pilled. I think like taking away 2 all-pro caliber line, like, dude, I almost voted Darnell Wright as if I had a vote. I almost put Darnell Wright on my all-pro team this year. They do have a well-coached offense with a QB and all his weapons. Yeah, but man, if you go from like an elite offensive line to a bad offensive line, like I just think that makes such a difference. I really do. I get what you're saying though. Agree to disagree. All right. Texans versus Cowboys. Texans are already without Will Anderson Jr. And honestly, the other guy you're probably taking away next is Danielle Hunter. Maybe Derek Stingley, but it's certainly someone on defense. I'm going to say Danielle Hunter. No Will Anderson Jr. or Danielle Hunter for the Texans. That all of a sudden starts to make life really hard for them because so much of their defense is built on just, we have dudes and we are dogs. We do not blitz. We just run cover 2 man for 50 plays and beat you to death with metal baseball bats. While they still certainly have the talent on the back ends to do that, with just a ridiculous secondary and great linebackers, like they ain't getting pressure with Dominique Robertson and Logan Hall the same way they are with Hunter and Will Anderson, right? They would have to really step out of their element schematically on defense. And even though there's still plenty of talent, like, man, that really hurts them. That really hurts them. Does it hurt them enough against the Cowboys? See, here's where things get interesting because I think if the Cowboys keep Dak, they probably win. I really do. If they lose him, they might lose. It's Dak or Quinnen. And it's Quinnen's probably their second best player. No, I mean he's all pro level guy. You know who's better at their position? Who's better at playing football? Quinnen Williams or Dak Prescott? I love Dak Prescott, but it's probably Quinnen Williams. I'm gonna say Cowboys win this one. We'll have the Cowboys move on. All right, here we go. Losing your QB makes a big difference. Look at Denver, who has an average quarterback. That's fair. Valid. I get it. You could say Pickens, too. Pickens was unbelievable. Pickens, low-key, might be third in line, honestly. That'll be an interesting conversation. Dak or Pickens when we get to the next round. And then we've got Packers versus Rams here. Rams, you're taking away Stafford now, right? I think we more or less established that last round. Rams, you're taking away Stafford and Puka. And then the Packers, you took away Micah. Next guy you're taking away, I mean, it probably could be crazy. It's probably like Tucker Kraft, no? Could be Tucker Kraft. Could be Jordan Love. Love me some Jordan Love. Could be Evan Williams or Xavier McKinney even. But for sure no Micah. I might say, dude, this might be stupid. I might say Tucker Kraft, and I think that really helps the Packers here. We'll say Packers. Yeah, I'm with you, Jack. Rams probably lose here. You call Dak a top 5 to 10 quarterback unless you're ready to put that same label on Pickens. It's Dak. Well, we'll get there. That's true. That's fair. Although I might argue, like, numerically speaking, I might not necessarily have, I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to think about that. But you make a good point. Pickens was second team All-Pro. I probably would say Kraft. Even if it's Kraft, I mean, even if it's Love, I think the Packers might win. But we'll say Packers here. Yeah, I think Rams do lose. Yeah. Broncos, Panthers. This is probably going to be Denver. We'll at least do the justice of figuring out who to remove, right? For the Broncos, we already took away Surtain. Now we're probably taking away Quinn Miners. And then for the Panthers, we took away Derek Brown. Now we're probably taking away J.C. Horn. I mean, it's Denver, dude. They might win the whole darn thing. They really might. Chargers 49ers, dude. Yeah, whoever wins this game is getting smacked. So for the Chargers, we took away. Did we take away Herbert? I'm trying to remember. I think did we say Herbert? And the 49ers, I said Warner. Now it's Trent. I don't know. Have I picked the Chargers? No, I can't. I will say, though, you cannot sleep on the Trey Lance revenge game angle here, right? Because no Herbert. Trey Lance is coming in at quarterback for the Chargers. But that is, the 49ers have the meta of keeping their quarterback. Jack is saying Niners. That's probably true. Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at an offense with Trey Lance and then Trey Pipkins at tackle, yeah, we'll go 49ers. The fact that I even had to think about it, though, yeah, we'll go 49ers. All right, Commanders versus Eagles. Let's at least figure out who we're going to take away, I guess. Commanders, we took away Tunzel. Now we'll take away Jaden Daniels. I mean, right there. Look, Mariota might be able to, be a decent replacement, but come on, And then for the Eagles, we took away Lane Johnson. Honestly, next guy gone is probably Quinyon Mitchell, now that I think about it. I might argue Quinyon Mitchell. Maybe Saquon, too. I'll say Quinyon Mitchell. He was on my short list for defensive player of the year. Trey Lance. Honestly, I'm trying to go hoop in the city right now. But hey, that sounds cool. Maybe I'll check it out later. Maybe you lose Quinyon. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. So we'll say no Lane Johnson, no Quinyon Mitchell. And either way, they're laying waste to the Commanders in this one. Yeah. Honestly, trying to go hoop in the city right now. But hey. That's awesome. That kills me, dude. Vikings versus Patriots. Good Lord, dude. There's no way I can do this, right? Hold on. Hold. Low-key, not a bad matchup for us. Hold. Vikings lose Justin Jefferson first. Next guy gone. Maybe Christian Darrisaw. Probably is Christian Darrisaw, no? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's true. Jack is saying give me Minnesota over New England. I mean, if you're the Patriots, you lose May. Yeah, there's no May versus Brian Flores defense who still hasn't lost a guy yet. Hold on. Hold. Next guy gone for the Patriots after Drake May. I would say probably Christian Barmore or Christian Gonzalez. It's the Vikings. It is the Vikings. You're right, Jack. You convinced me. Let's go. We're going to get killed by the Eagles, but it's chill. Let's go, baby. All right. We made it to the Elite Eight. Fun fact, this is the furthest we've made it in any sort of football-related tournament in a long time. That's cool. All right. Seahawks versus Jaguars. I mean, this is pretty easily looking like a Seahawks win now, right? I mean, they still probably don't lose their quarterback. Jaguars lose yet another dude. Who would they be without now? We already know no Lawrence and no Josh Hines-Allen. Next guy you're losing is probably Trayvon Walker. Yeah, I mean, the defense is just toothless now. If you're the Seahawks, you're without JSN, you're without Devin Witherspoon. And then it's probably like Ernest Jones or one of the interior defenders. Yeah, it's the Seahawks. We'll at least decide who we're taking away here. We're gonna say, you know what? I'll tip my cap to you, Jack. We'll say Ernest Jones here. We'll say Ernest Jones. If you pick Nick Mullins to beat a Mike McDonald defense of any capacity, you're on drugs. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go Seahawks here. All right. Seahawks are into the Final Four. Cowboys versus Packers. Oh, there's where we get into the Dak conversation, right? Let me pull this up here. So, we've already taken away Quinnen Williams and CeeDee Lamb. Now it's between Dak Prescott or George Pickens. How much of a difference does this really make? I don't know. See, because here's what I'd argue. Yes, Dak, I might have him like ranked relative to his position higher than George Pickens. Well, wait, I don't even know. Why are my lights turning red? Oh, I was like, what? What's going on here? Um, I am gonna remove Dak. I am gonna remove Dak. I will. Man, it's Joe Milton with no CD, and then they got no Quinnen on defense. Oh man, the Packers might actually win this one, dude. We're looking at no Kraft and no Micah Parsons so far for the Packers. Next guy you remove might be Jordan Love. It's probably Jordan Love or Zach Tom or one of the safeties. I think sans Jordan Love, Packers win. Man, it'd be nice if they had Malik Willis, but we'll say Packers here. We'll see Packers. Yeah. You're taking Dallas if they lose Pickens. Yeah, that's probably if the Cowboys had kept Dak, that's probably true. All right, here we go. Broncos 49ers, it's got to be Denver, right? I mean, look, we're still not I don't know that either of these teams lose their quarterback, but this is where no Trent just absolutely dooms the 49ers. And you've got no Warner. So we've taken away Trent. We've taken away Fred Warner. I would probably say next guy to take away is Nick Bosa. I mean, dude, we literally saw this last year. The defense without Bosa and Warner is horrible. Not to mention the offensive line is horrible without Trent. Going up against a Denver team who they lost Surtain, they lost Miners. Next guy they lose is probably Benito. Yeah, but it's still, I mean, Denver's defense is so deep. It's got to be the Broncos. And then Eagles versus Vikings. Yeah, there probably is a lot of comfort in the Eagles moving on here, right? I mean, if you're the Vikings, you're looking at no Jefferson, no Darisaw. Next guy out is probably, is it Andrew Van Ginkel? Maybe. Probably Van Ginkel, Grenard, or Cashman. Either way, I mean, man. I might argue Andrew Van Ginkel just because he's so important for what he does for this defense. Jalen Carter, Saquon for Philly, or even Cooper DeJean maybe. I'll say Van Ginkel for the Vikings. And then for the Eagles, I'm going to take away. Yeah, I think I'll say Saquon. I'll say Saquon. So no Saquon, no Lane Johnson, no Quinyon. But I still like the Eagles here. The miracle run ends for the Vikings. We have our final four. And what an interesting mix that we have here. Broncos and Eagles and Seahawks, I can't say I'm too surprised about. How about the Packers just being in here? Probably by virtue of still having, well, no, I got rid of Jordan Love. Man. Seahawks versus Packers, I feel pretty comfortable about who I'm going to be picking here, right? We have to remove yet another player for the Seahawks now. Let me find him real quick. So we've taken away JSN, Devin Witherspoon, Ernest Jones. Next guy we're taking away for Seattle. I don't know. I'd probably say I might say Byron Murphy, honestly. What do you think, Jack? I'm going to say Byron Murphy. So if you're the Seahawks, you lose one guy on every level of the defense and then your star receiver. But if you're the Packers, I mean, you lose the dude who really stirs your drink on defense. No Micah Parsons. No Tucker Kraft. No Jordan Love and no Zach Tom. Yeah, come on. It's the Seahawks. It's the Seahawks. Yeah. Or Murph. You'd give the edge to Big Cat. I get that. Teach their own. Broncos, Eagles. Winner goes to the championship. Man, I'm leaning Denver, but let's run through this real quick. Let's work through this a little bit, right? Eagles. There they are. Okay, so Denver. They have now lost Quinn Miners, Pat Surtain, Nick Benito, and yeah, I would say Zach Allen's probably next, right? So you lose one of your top guys, two of your top guys up front, your defensive player of the year corner, and then your star guard. Offense is still pretty intact, but the defense is starting to look a little thinner. Still a lot of talent there, though, But you lose a lot of star power on defense, all things considered. Defense, you don't feel great about. This is a team that's more built to win shootouts now. But hey, look at that. They got Waddle all of a sudden. Versus the Eagles, you're now without Saquon Barkley, Lane Johnson, Quinyon Mitchell, and I'll say Jalen Carter. And I think for that reason, this is not why I picked Jalen Carter. Jack has taken Philly. I think if you take away Jalen Carter, you don't feel quite as good about that four-man rush for the Eagles. And that is a big thing for them, especially as a Fangio defense. They still do have the QB and the receivers. This game, honestly, might be a bit of a shootout. In a weird way, I think Denver's more built to win the shootout than the Eagles, even though they might have a little bit more star power on offense. I don't know, and I think that them losing Miners might not hurt as much with no Jalen Carter either. I'm going to say Denver. We'll say Broncos win. No, that's true. No Surtain. Yeah, you could maybe convince me to change my mind, but I am stubborn, unfortunately. That's fair, though. That's fair. All right. Here's the championship. We're now looking at taking away a fifth player from both these teams. All right. We can keep the Eagles up, or keep the Broncos up, and then we're going to pull up the Seahawks, and we're going to run through this one more time here and see what we come up with. Seahawks. I'll find them eventually. It's okay. All right. So for the Denver Broncos, we have taken away Pat Surtain. We have taken away Nick Benito. We have taken away Zach Allen. We have taken away Quinn Miners, and now we probably take away Garrett Bowles, right? Good Lord. Good Lord. You could say Waddle too, maybe. I think I would say Bulls. Whoosh. All of a sudden, your defense, which was a superpower, loses all three of their stars. And then your offensive line, which is your other superpower, is without your two All-Pros, Rutro Raggy. And it probably would be Leo for Seattle, right? Because now we're looking at no JSN, no Byron Murphy, no Ernest Jones, no Devin Witherspoon, no Leonard Williams. Man. I think I gotta go Seattle. I really do. I think shocker. I'm picking the Super Bowl champ, right? I think I gotta go Seattle here. I like their quarterback a little bit more. They can still hit those big plays with Shaheed. I worry about the run game a little bit, but I mean Denver's defense was just decimated, and that Broncos offensive line without their two stars going up against Mike McDonald. Yeah, I mean it would be kind of a weird, ugly game, but I mean also we're looking at like taking away 5 of their best players, but yeah, I think Bo would die behind that line. You're probably right, dude. But how about that? What a fun exercise. Even if you take away their 5 best players, the Seattle Seahawks, still the champs. That's awesome. Once again, shout out to Caden, man. He really cooked with these. I didn't know what these were going in, so it was kind of fun to experience this in real time. This is a fun little, again, classic off-season content type of stream, right? Just fun hanging out, talking ball, doing silly stuff like this. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. I know there's a little bit of funkiness with the schedule, right? Going back to Wednesdays, at least for this week. But next week, we will be back to our standard Monday nights. Got something super fun planned for that I'm going to keep under wraps for now. I'm going to keep you guys in suspense. But let's just say we're going to be taking it back. Oh, baby, we're going to be taking it back. Let's just say. When I arrive, I bring the fire, make you come alive. That's what I'll say. Let's get, dude, I'm so excited for this next stream. Next Monday night, 8 o'clock, new video coming soon as well. Been plugging away on that. It is so close to being over the finish line. Feel free to check me out on all these other platforms that I got down below too. Shameless little plug right there. We're on TikTok a little bit more if you're into that kind of thing. Just bite-sized short-form NFL content that's not like the AI generated fruit brain rot, but like if you want to hear my real thoughts on Kyler Murray, that's where you find it. But I appreciate it, Jack. Thank you, man. Again, thank you, Jack, Caden, Eagle Eyes, anyone else who might have popped in here tonight. A lot of fun. There is a Costco cake that's chilling in my fridge right now that's calling my name, so I'm going to go be big and eat some of that. But until next time, man, y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good night. I will see you all later. The doctor is out. Jolly good show.